Thanks for having me on the panel. My name is Jehiel Oliver. I'm the founder and CEO of Hello Tractor. We're an agricultural technology company that's farm equipment owners to smallholder farmers in need of mechanization services. So, like Jim mentioned, there's a dearth of input available, tractors and mechanization being one of them on the continent. And we make these machines and machine access affordable to these small growers by providing them through a shared economy model, timely and affordable access. We do that by selling farm equipment owners fleet management software. That's how we get them onto our platform. And then as they engage in software, they can opt into our marketplace where we're also simultaneously organizing smallholder farmers who are willing and able to pay for services, but can't afford, nor should they even own because their plots are so small. These farmers are organized through community-based agents who use a separate app to book on behalf of the growers, bridging that digital divide. And that enables the mechanization transactions to take economies of scale. The agents are paid a commission for that service. So there's some rural youth employment angle there as well. And then the tractor owners earn some additional revenue with the excess capacity that they have on their equipment. So we kind of think about that as a win-win situation and a way to bridge that mechanization gap. And mechanization is so important to farmers' productivity. We still have a long ways to go. We only have a few thousand of these machine owner customers on our platform. And there are literally millions of farmers to these services. Still a long way to go, but I think the model is a model that can scale and through our partners and the like. So, but thank you, and I'm looking forward to questions. I think there's some really important components to mechanization that can build resiliency on a farmer's field. One of the technologies that we've been promoting on our platform is deep ripping, specifically breaking the hard pan so our growers can better access the water resources in their field. And then when there's too much rain, avoid puddling in the fields, which can also have a negative effect on yields. And I think what's interesting is that our growers are more aware than you would imagine. You can go to some pretty rural communities across the countries that we operate in, and these farmers talk about climate change. Now, sometimes they don't have the scientific vocabulary, but they do know that weather is much more erratic, and they're opting into new technologies to mitigate some of the risks that come with that variability. And for our business, I mean, as Hello Tractor, we're trying to solve a logistics problem where we operate in the tropics, where each of the countries that we operate in have these different agroecological zones with different planting behaviors within each zone. And we're trying to take a tractor and use the weather as the predictor as to when that machine should go into that zone and service the farmers that we organize. Now, if we can't predict the weather, then of course that becomes more of a challenge. And so even us as a company have to adapt to these new realities. But certainly things like deep ripping, I think the next step is going to be what Eric mentioned around no-till and minimal tillage. We've started doing field demonstrations with our growers starting in Kenya, where I am today. And we want to expand that out further and partner with CIMMYT, one of the CG centers, on getting more of this information out to our growers so that they are aware of the benefits of no tillage. And I think the one benefit is that when you organize these last mile communities, you kind of get forward guidance on their receptiveness to these new technologies, and then you can invest into that new demand, right? So if we start seeing pockets of demand for no-till, right, then we can start to to organize our loan products around financing the equipment to service that new demand, direct seeders and all the other equipments that you'll need to service that new demand. And so that's one of the benefits. So it's really it's an issue around first educating the growers of the benefits of these new technologies, but then making sure you can lubricate the market to address that demand when it does arise. And there's some real leapfrog opportunities because some of these growers, 55% of our farmers have never received any mechanization in the history of their farming. And so they now have an opportunity to bypass traditional tillage and go right into climate smart agriculture, which is exciting. There's less behavior change. That muscle memory hasn't set in yet. So that's exciting as well. But there's a lot to be done along that journey, but both in educating the growers and then making sure you have the resourcing to lend against that demand that you're creating through these education initiatives. Well, I think, first of all, in our ecosystem, working particularly across the last mile is so resource intensive that you have to have a coalition of partners. John Deere being a global leader in mechanization and agricultural technology brings expertise and certain institutional capabilities that we can leverage on. And we bring some local market understanding, particularly around the contracting business in the emerging market. And I think that coupling of expertise can unlock value. And then we work with other players, even outside of mechanization, people who wouldn't necessarily think about immediately, like a Moody's, who we partner with to create an underwriting framework to finance more tractors, but use the underwriting framework to incentivize the right behavior. So scoring credits higher if a tractor owner is looking to finance machinery to do no-till versus some conventional tillage, right? Or incentivizing tractor owners who want to work exclusively with smallholder farmers. That person gets a higher rating. And so bringing these coalition of partners together, working with research and the CGs and academia, as well as the private sector, is the only way we can close these gaps and create the kind of value for our growers. And it's a long journey and we won't walk it alone. So we work very closely with these corporate partners, public private sector, to try and move faster through a coalition of the willing. 2-ish minutes.